welcome to Always Alyssa. Today I have an art tutorial and I'm going to be showing you guys how to draw this jellyfish. What you're going to need to draw this jellyfish are a thin Sharpie, a pencil, and colored pencils like blue, green, and purple. So the first thing you're going to do to start out with your jellyfish, you're going to find the left center of your page, so like about right here, and that's where we're going to start our jellyfish. So I'm going to make kind of a curved outline like that. And that'll be the top of our jellyfish. Just kind of make a lot of curvy lines, kind of like an oval, but super curvy, if you know what I mean. And you can kind of see that's the start of our jellyfish. Now we're gonna make a line parallel to these lines, like that. Kind of like tiny little candy canes. And now we're gonna make these candy canes go more, and just kind of like curve them, like super jiggly and curvy, all the way connecting. And there's the top of your jellyfish. And now a couple more details. You can make these go a little bit more in, but make sure that you leave a gap at least as big as your pinky or something, see? Now we're gonna make two lines, curved lines coming down from the top of the jellyfish. Two little details. And we're gonna make a couple coming out from the bottom as well. And remember, it's okay if your jellyfish isn't perfect, because mine isn't perfect either, and that's okay. Now we're gonna do a little part right here. You don't have to do this part, it's just I like to do it a little more detail. You're gonna do a curved line on each side in between these two lines right here, facing the inside of the jellyfish. And then you'll do a straight one right next to them, just like that. Now we're gonna do the tentacles of the jellyfish, my favorite part. So this first part is important, and then you can do whatever you want, but you wanna make sure from this part right here and these lines that are open, you can make a curved line going out on each side. So it's kind of like curving this way, if you see. And there you go. And now we're gonna do all the tentacles. So you're gonna continue this line, just kind of make it wavy. It doesn't really matter. And you're gonna make it smaller. You're gonna make it like big and then smaller, kind of, almost like a triangle. And then it will be like smaller at the end. And now just do a bunch of random lines, bunch of squiggly lines. This is the fun part. It's okay if you mess up, because a little bit later on, we're gonna retrace these in Sharpie. In fact, I might have put too many, but that is okay. Now we are going to do the bubbles. So I'm going to be using the end of this black Sharpie marker, and I'm going to be tracing some of the bubbles. So we're going to make 3 bubbles like right here, so I'll just trace one. And you can find a couple different objects in your house. I just decided a Sharpie would be a good size, but anything that's round that could work. Now I'm going to do another bubble with this bottle I found. So I've decided that this bubble is a little bit too big, so I'm going to fix that. So how you fix it if you want your bubble to be smaller or bigger, you make a dot in the middle, and make the lines parallel to the outside lines, and then erase the outside line. Now you have a smaller bubble. And now I'm going to make one more, and now it is time to trace. So I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I'm going to trace this part of the jellyfish first, which I'm actually going to make a little bit bigger than I originally made it. So this part's a little bit more tricky. So you're gonna trace 2 of the tentacles, just like the outside 2 of the tentacles, and you're going to erase the rest, and you'll see why in a second. And now we're going to keep tracing, or just freehanding these tentacles. And now we're done tracing the jellyfish. Now on to the bubbles. Something that really helps me in art when I'm doing circles and I'm tracing them in Sharpie like I am right now, I like to trace half of it and then stop, and then the other half, it just helps me to make sure my circle is even. Now erase all your pencil lines if you have any left. This part's pretty satisfying. Also, a problem I do have sometimes in art is I tend to draw a little bit too hard with the pencil, which is why you might see these marks afterwards. Those are just a couple little mistakes I made, but that's okay. So a tip to you guys, draw super soft when you're using a pencil. Time to color now. So I'm gonna be using all these different blues to color the jellyfish. If you don't want to use blue, that's totally fine. You can use shades of green, shades of purple, even shades of pink, any color you want, but I'm gonna be doing shades of blue. Just make sure whatever shade you have light, medium, and dark of that color. So let's begin. So first you're gonna take your lightest shade, and you're just gonna color in the top of your jellyfish, but put a circle in the middle and color that in pretty light, and then do the rest in dark. You can also color in these parts right here if you want. You don't have to though, it's up to you. And now we're gonna get our second darkest color, which will probably be this one. We're gonna do the same thing, coloring it all in, but just mostly do the sides. So every time you color, go farther and farther away from this circle. Now we're gonna take our darker color and do the same thing. And each time we're going to be coloring farther and farther away from this circle. Just keep going darker and darker. You can press your colored pencils down pretty hard too to make sure it's dark enough. Oh no, it's okay, there is a way to fix mistakes. There we go. See, mistakes happen all the time. It's okay. Okay, I have a new tip for you guys. When you're doing your colored pencil, don't do this or it might spread. So maybe instead of wiping the eraser off, just like blow it. And now we're gonna keep going darker. And remember guys, when you get darker, kind of leave the middle light. And now we're gonna do the tentacles. So I'm gonna start with my darkest color. And I'm just gonna color along the tentacle. And you're just gonna be doing that with all the colors. Pretty easy, huh? Now we're gonna be working on the bubbles. So first we're gonna take our lightest shade of blue and we're going to color about that much. Kind of blend it a little bit with your finger. And of course, as always, make it darker on the outsides. And do that to all three. And then we're gonna take a little bit darker blue and do the exact same thing, kind of just trace over it and get darker on the outsides. Now we're gonna take a super light shade of green and do the exact same thing. So we're gonna be doing it right up here. Now just make a circle here. And make sure you don't color that in. Now we're gonna keep shading in the blue. Now we're gonna take a light shade of purple and do the same thing to the bottom here. Now we're gonna take our pinky and we can like blend the bubbles just a little bit. And now is the time to erase any little mistakes. And now we are done with the jellyfish.
So here's the final product. I really liked how it turned out, and hopefully you guys were able to follow along, because for this art tutorial, especially like for the tentacles, it doesn't really matter how they look. Like you can do them any way and it'll still look good. For fun, here's another jellyfish I drew. See how both pictures are different, but they both look good? Thanks so much for watching my art tutorial today, guys. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, and bye!